Okay, up next in the series of ideas for big bad evil guys, gonna go in and get the jinn. So the jinn are genies. So they're genies of like the elemental plane of air. So the whole idea of like the jinn would be kind of like maybe if you want to run like a desert or like a type of campaign, or like you that's the stereotypical type of like maybe like a Knights of Arabia or type of deal, but you don't necessarily have to do it like that. You could, in a sense, introduce him as like a big bad evil guy that's kind of coming out of the elemental plane of air, the kind of like maybe on the prime material plane, and kind of get in, is put into like the races into servitude underneath him and everything. So going over like the stats of like in the monsters manual, you can see like the picture of like how they look. And of course, like I have yet to paint mine, so like obviously it's still gray, and so like as you can see, like again, the artwork gives you like at least a base idea of like what they're supposed to look. And so the Jinn are large elemental chaotic good people from, like I said, the elemental plane of air. They have an armor class of 17 with natural armor. Their hit points 161, 14d10 plus 84. They got a speed of 30 feet, or they can fly 90 feet. They got the strength of 21, dex of 15, a con of 22, intelligence 15, wisdom 16, and charisma 20. Saving throws are dex plus 6, wisdom plus 7, and charisma plus 9. They got damage immunity to lightning and thunder. They've got dark vision of 120 feet and a passive perception of 13. And like the languages that's listed that they know is Auran, Auran, and they have a challenge rate of 11 of 7,200 experience. They got elemental demise. If the Jinn dies, its body disintegrates into a warm breeze, leaving behind only the equipment the Jinn was wearing or carrying. Innate spellcasting. The Jinn's innate spellcasting ability is charisma, sort of like the kind of sorcerer. So like you could, you see how it'd be kind of easy to write him up as a maybe like a sorcerer class, sort of like a what I talked about like with the frost giant, writing him up as a war cleric, kind of like a coming back to like a start like the build upon like the whole concept of the giants bringing back their like their civilization, bringing them to the pinnacle. Could write this up as like a sorcerer, but like you could tweak it to quite possibly like do like a wizard or warlock. So, but you can see how they're geared more towards like a spell casting, at least an arcane spell casting type with their innate spell casting ability of like charisma. And so their spell save DC is 17. It's a +9 to hit with spell attacks. Yeah, it can innately cast the fallen spells requiring no material components. So like detect evil and good, detect magic, and a thunder wave, and then three times per day can create food and water, and like tongues, wind walk, and once per day has conjure elemental, air elemental only, creation, gaseous form, invisibility, major image, and plane shift. The actions it has, at least listed here, are like the Jinn makes three scimitar attacks, like and has like in the miniature and in the picture it depicts them with having like the picture has one, and of course the miniature I have has two. Uh, Melee weapon is attack +9 to hit, 5 feet reach, and one target. Hit 12, 2d6 +5 for damage, so slashing damage, +3, 1d6 lightning or thunder damage, the Jin's choice. And so then it has create whirlwind, a 5 foot radius, 30-foot tall cylinder of swirling air magically forms on a point the Jin can see within 120 feet of it. The whirlwind lasts as long as the Jin maintains concentration, as if concentrating on a spell. Any creature but the Jinn that enters the whirlwind must succeed on a DC 18 strength saving throw or be restrained by it. The Jinn can move the whirlwind up to 60 feet as an action, and creatures restrained by the whirlwind move with it. The whirlwind ends if the Jinn lose sight of it. A creature can use its action to free a creature restrained by the whirlwind, including itself, by succeeding on a DC 18 strength check. If the check succeeds, the creature is no longer restrained and moves to the nearest space outside the whirlwind. So that like idea that comes to mind of like introducing like and Jin as like a big bad evil guy is like one of the PCs, especially an arcane spellcaster, could in a sense do a summon spell, and a summon spell goes wrong, or like you could have like a NPC spellcaster summon the Jin, and it goes pretty much horribly wrong, and like they get like an evil Jin that is hell bent on world domination. Of course, sort of like the idea of like the giants, or what you could do is like if you don't like world domination, like that doesn't make any sense. Maybe the Jin just is like gets summoned to like the realm. Like I said, the summoning goes wrong, and now it has free reign to run around the prime material plane, and the Jin or genies, they're big on servitude. So like maybe he's like, oh, this is the perfect time to get some slaves and stuff. So you could see like in a sense have him go around. In a sense, doing like raids or whatever, getting a bunch of like servitors, slaves. Maybe they like getting back into like the idea of the hobgoblin that I use. Maybe like the hobgoblin acts as like is his is a head slave or whatever, and like the warlord goes around like start conquering other lands to bring the genie more slaves. So and of course the NPC summoner, the NPC arcane spellcaster, trying to make things right, could in a sense enlist the player characters and be like, hey, look, I messed up. I have this problem. I need your help and everything to set this straight. So this could, in a sense, like basically put him on a headlong course against to head up against the Jinn and everything. So this is like another way you could like introduce a different type of NPC, big bad evil guy. So yeah, world domination is kind of like the modern common cliche, but like I said, use an example of like the summoning gone wrong, and now like the Jin has like a free reign of the material plane, to whatever campaign set you're in, Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, Dragonlance, and now the way the characters can get hooked in is like the summoner, the maybe like the spellcaster that had done the summon and it went awry. He comes in and tries to he recruits the PCs to help defeat the Jinn and send him back to the elemental plane of air, and so and to help him try and free the slaves that the genie is starting to get or whatever. Of course, another idea that you can do is the genie came into the realm of his own free will, is looking for the slaves himself, and maybe an NPC, a powerful aristocrat, or like a king, or maybe a noble of one of the cities. Maybe you're running an adventure in Waterdeep or something in Forgotten Realms, and one of the aristocrats their nephew, or maybe a family member, or one of their head their head of their guards or whatever, was kidnapped by the genie, and they recruit the PCs to kind of save the NPC that's related to, or the head aristocrat or whatever. They go up against they're trying to find the genie, so that way they can save the NPC. So a damsel in distress type of cliche. So that's a couple ways you could introduce the new the Jin character as the big bad evil guy. And of course this is just another idea, kind of outside the scope of your typical lich and vampire, or maybe your orcs and goblins and ogres and stuff like that you maybe use as your typical monsters, or a big bad evil guy. And of course the evil sorcerer is also a common trope for the big bad evil guy. But the whole idea for me doing these is kind of introducing new ideas, new monsters that kind of go outside the scope, and especially if you don't necessarily want to do those pre-made adventures, I keep mentioning Curse of Strahd and Vecna Eve of Ruin, or maybe even Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. So the whole idea of doing the series like this is to introduce ideas for DMs to kind of help think outside the box and be like, oh hey, look, let me reference this video, get a good idea of the springboard. And of course you might take the something like this, the Jinn, or maybe like the previous video with the Frost Giant, and flip it and do something completely different and everything. So this is just like a springboard to give people, in a sense, ideas for like, oh hey, let me try this for like the big bad evil guy instead of like your stereotypical vampires or liches or whatever that I've mentioned before.